Mike, turn your games down.
Time for a mini episode of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who is powering up with me tonight?
I am Joe Butler, and I'll PK your G.
And I am Eric Hunt. I am from the Nomads of Fantasy podcast. Yeah, glad to be here.
Oh, I have heard of that.
Yes, I've talked about it. I mentioned it here and there. Been on it a few times.
Yep, Mike's been here. I've been on the show a couple times, and I've guested here a couple times. So, yeah, glad to be back.
And we're here to talk about Dragon Ball Z Budokai, developed by Dimps, published by Infograin, Bandai Europe, and came out in 2002, originally for PS2.
Yes, way back in 2002. I was, 8 years old at the time.
I was in high school. So I remember when this game came out because I had a friend my freshman year that I met that was a big Dragon Ball Z fan. I think I would have been I graduated in 06. So yeah, I think it would have been my freshman year in 2002. I'm doing quick math right around there. And I remember he was like, this was a big deal. I remember renting this game. I was like, Dragon Ball, whatever. Like, I liked it, but I've only had caught a few episodes here and there on Toonami over the years. Like, I never really sat down and watched it. I didn't really know much about it. This was my first video game experience to Dragon Ball Z, was playing this game back in the day.
Yeah, I have some pretty special memories about the release of this game specifically. So yeah, back in 2002, like I said, 8 years old. I mean, this was during the height of like popularity of Dragon Ball Z especially in North America, because the dub was just coming over. It was right in the middle of syndication on Toonami, like you were saying. So when this game released, I came home from school one day and my dad had surprised us. He bought us a PlayStation 2 with Dragon Ball Z Budokai, because he knew like we were super into it at the time, super into Dragon Ball Z. And I think ATV Off-Road Fury he also bought. That was more for him, but that was also a fun game. But just coming home from school one day to that, like my brother had gotten home before me and he was already like playing it. So when I saw that, I was just like amazed, like that, one of my favorite shows at the time had turned into a video game. Like I said, I had dabbled in like some other Dragon Ball games before that, like I think there was Dragon Ball GT like Final Bout for PlayStation 1. But that game's pretty rough if you try to go back to it these days. But it was,
don't forget, Ultimate Battle 22 was also out at this time.
Well, this was also a huge deal because, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this was the first English dubbed Dragon Ball video game to release. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but I think that's correct.
I think it's right. I don't remember when Legacy of Goku is, but I think it's right after this.
That's after that. Yeah, that's definitely after this, because I loved Legacy of Goku as well, GBA. But
that's also 2002. But that was May. This is
it might have been
December.
Before, actually.
Yeah, it's before. But this was the first like fighting game to really like get that attention.
Yeah, and like voice acted too. Like they brought all the English voice actors from the Funimation dub to this game, so it's like all the voices of the characters that I know and love. So that was a huge deal to me as a kid, and it's interesting the release of this game as well, because I mean we'll probably get into some more specifics of the game, but just the time it released, it was in the middle of the dub, so the series wasn't finished in North America. So this game only goes up to the Cell Saga, which I imagine had to be very odd for people in Japan, because Dragon Ball Z had ended like, 6 years before in 1996. So like it was long finished by the time this game came out, and this game only covers half of the series. So definitely an interesting release.
And Joe, what's your issue with it?
I hate that Eric mentioned Final Bout. I have a really funny story about that. Me and my sister, her dad, because I was part of their family. Her dad went and he went to like the mall. It was the mall. It's the mall. So if someone would understand what I'm talking about. They used to have these stores and they would sell bootleg shit for video game.
Okay.
Yeah, he bought like it was a blue block and I couldn't find it, and my sister's calling me a liar, and I know I'm right. They had this thing put on because my uncle was super into like the stuff that we did. Like he introduced him to Yu-Gi-Oh and things like that, and a lot of the reasons why me and my sister are such nerds. And he went because he saw something there that we thought would be, because he knew we liked Dragon Ball Z, and they had they had Final Bout in Japanese. So he paid to have like a block put on so we could play it in Japanese, and you had to keep the PlayStation 1 open to play it because you jailbroke it.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and that was we played that, but I remember playing this, and of course we were kids, and I want to say I half the calluses on my hand are from wiggling the stick from doing that fighting method.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
speaking of that, like wiggling the sticks, do you guys have those things where like there's something so hard from a video game that you remember as a kid, but then you go back to it today and then you beat it first try? Because
Yeah.
Oh God, yes.
that was the special beam cannon mini game for me in this game, where you had to, line up Goku and Raditz and Piccolo's, his area where you can hit with the special beam cannon. I could never do that as a kid. Like, I could never line it up correctly, and it took me so many tries. Like, my brother and I would pass the controller back and forth trying to beat that mini game. I go back to it, playing. I went back to it, I think last year, actually, because of Toriyama's passing. I wanted to revisit some of the Budokai games, but going back to it recently, like, I just beat that first try, and I'm like, I can't believe I struggled with this so much as a kid.
Yeah, this made me do the thing. That made me do the thing. I remember that too. And I remember I didn't get in the first try, but like on the second try, and where I failed, I'm like, okay, I'm about to sit up for this. It's pissing me off, and I got it. But I remember it being a lot harder.
Definitely. But yeah, definitely like all the mashing analog sticks when you do like the the Clash. All the Budokai games had that where you had to like roll the analog sticks. Super quick.
PS2 like to do that. There is a thing where, because I have done I played multiple emulation, that depending on what kind of controller you're using, a fake PS2 controller actually rotates faster than like a fake 360 controller or like the Steam Deck. Because like when I do the special beam cannon, when you in the second story mode, when you have to do it for S Piccolo and you have to like spin it to get up to level 3, I had a really hard time with it, and it shouldn't have been. But I've had this problem with Onimusha 2, where I couldn't get it with my fake 360 controller, but as soon as I used a fake PS2 controller, it worked because it recognized it differently.
Yeah.
So that can also be an issue with emulation that you won't expect, but it's there because the controllers are a little bit different.
Yeah, I have Hall's stick, so maybe that does have something to do with it. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, it could. I had a really hard time. I didn't have a hard time when you have to keep him in the line, but I had a hard time you had to charge up to get to level 3 with this cannon. I barely got it after like 4 tries. So yeah, I mean that is a thing. I mean, I can wiggle a controller just fine, but I don't remember anything. I don't remember a lot about this game. I know I rented it as a kid. I know I played it, but like I didn't remember much. I just know this was my introduction to Dragon Ball Z, where I remember playing this. I'm like, who the fuck is Zaburo? Like, who the hell is this big pink guy? I've never seen them before.
Yeah,
so, you remember that?
The Budokai series eventually became, and that's as much as I can think of too, where the Budokai series was the Dragon Ball series. So like it went with obviously going into the newer one, which is Sparking Zero, where when the new game came out, you expected everyone to be there, and every game went from every character to every side character to every minion.
Right, every transformation is a separate character.
Yeah, to where I think Budokai 3 goes into like, I know this one has it, but Budokai 3 has Hercule, and there's like a weird Krillin Cell fusion because of the what if story is if Cell had eaten Krillin instead of Android 18. There's a fusion between Tien and Yamcha where he's balding. Like
I mean, in like Tenkaichi games, like they expanded even into like GT and stuff.
GT?
Yeah, they were including like Super Saiyan 4. They were including like Baby Vegeta. There were some other characters in there too as well. But like they were really trying to just expand out the roster to include as many characters as they could. But yeah, I also have another cool memory like this, and it's so weird because like Dragon Ball Z was so popular at this time. They were releasing these Budokai games annually. So like Budokai 1, 2, 3, Tenkaichi 1, 2, and 3, like all those were annual releases, and like every year my dad would take me to, at the time it was EB Games.
I remember that place.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, okay, you can pick out one video game, and every year I would pick out the new Dragon Ball Z game. It was the new Budokai game. So like this series in general is super super important to me as a kid, and I still go back to those games. Like I said, I played through, my favorite is Budokai 3 specifically. I played through all of that again last year. But yeah, like the series as a whole I love every game for different reasons. This one specifically, I think obviously it was the first game in this series, so it's the weakest in terms of the fighting mechanics itself. Like if you look at the fighting in terms of, if you look at this as a fighting game compared to other ones, it's relatively simple. You have your combos, and then you have your special moves and your ultimate moves. some transformations in there. But going back to this game, it definitely is probably the worst feeling Budokai game. It's, it's slower. You don't have as many options for combat, but it was still fun to go back to.
It is pretty simple. Like, I don't play a lot of fighters, but I have played enough that, like, I could tell, I'm like, there is not a lot to this. Like, in the way that you have your abilities, you have to equip capsules to yourself. So so that's how you get their different abilities, like Kamehameha, the Big Bang, like Gallic. But it's just something about it, like, I guess you can do higher combos. I never did much more like a 4-hit combo. I could never get it off. You can also power up your characters in battle based on your level of ki, and like for Goku, there's Kaioken times 10 times whatever. I don't remember. Then Super Saiyan. I don't think he has Super Saiyan 2 yet, does he? Isn't that? Or he?
I think Gohan goes 2.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Goku just goes 1 to 3, right? Pretty much.
He doesn't go 3 in this, I think.
No 3 in this. That's not until Buu, right? But they have like the super, like the basically Super Saiyan 1.5 versions of like Vegeta and Trunks, because they do like the buff up that's like stronger but slower while they're fighting like the second form of Cell. But fighting mechanics not amazing in this game, but for a first crack at a 2.5D fighter, if you want to call it.
Is it 2.5? I guess it is 2.5D.
You can sidestep on the
it probably
planes.
is considered 3D. 3D is what is 3D is more when you move around the arena, right?
3D
like
is Tenkaichi series. Yeah.
Okay.
Like arena fighter.
I don't play. I haven't. This is the only Budokai game I actually have ever played. This is this first one because I wasn't.
Oh, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Oh, I'm planning to change it. I mean, we just started with 1. I plan to take a look at Budokai 2. I've seen Budokai 2, but I never played it. Like the thing for me in these games, in any fighting game, is it has to have a story mode, and that's one thing that grabbed me with this one. Is that, especially as a kid when this first came out, because I was to get a bunch of the story of Dragon Ball without having to sit down and watch, hundreds of episodes of Z, which I couldn't do on Adult Swim, and not like I could go buy the VHS tapes that were ridiculously expensive at this time. Like, it was just easy enough that I could consume, because it gives you a quick version of the Saiyan saga, which I do like. I like, you have Raditz, Nappa, you fight Vegeta. It gives you a very quick version of the Namek saga.
Very quick.
It skips Goldo, there's no Burst, there's no Birder, there's no Geese. It skips, I don't even remember Daddario. I mean, he's in this game, an unlockable character, but he's not. You don't ever fight him in the campaign. It's weird.
Yeah, it is very truncated. The story, the story mode in this game. That's what I was curious about. As like, if this was your first experience with the Dragon Ball Z, like wondering how much of the story mode would actually make sense. Because like for me, as a lifelong fan of Dragon Ball Z, I can fill in the gaps mentally of what's happening because I know all the beats and all the in betweens. But like for someone, if this was their first experience with Dragon Ball Z as a franchise, I think they would be a little bit lost, and like because they do jump around in the story a lot.
They do. It was a lot of asking questions at the time because I had a friend that was hugely into Dragon Ball Z, so it was a lot of just asking him like, "What am I missing here?" And I also did play the Game Boy Color game Legendary Super Saiyan Warriors.
So
that's a good game.
Full offense though, and I know it's really goofy. I say that from experience. I think probably the later game's probably a little bit better. I don't mind having stuff cut from the story. I say that because I tried playing Kakarot like twice, and I could not get past like, what is it called? The Raditz. I couldn't even get past the Raditz part because it's like the opening of the game, and I'm like, I don't want to play all this. I just want to turn Super Saiyan. When's the
that game's
saga?
Long, Kakarot. I never finished it.
That's a long action RPG.
That's like a 40-50 hour RPG.
Yeah, this is different.
Yeah, this is bit down so I can enjoy every single flavor and all the good moments that I like.
I mean, they get the key stuff that you need. You get fighting Vegeta, you get a fight with Nappa, you get the Raditz fight, you get multiple Frieza fights because you want to fight Frieza multiple times. I mean, less than the show.
You get the really goofy thing that I like, where you have to fight Goku as what's his face,
Captain Ginyu.
Ginyu, yeah.
Yep. Do not like Ginyu.
No one likes Ginyu. He's nasty.
I don't like any of the frickin' Ginyu Force. I've never
Ginyu
liked
Force.
them.
They're just they're clowns. They're so goofy.
Every so often I run across their Funko Pops, and I'm just like, no. I don't know any really Dragon Ball Z Funkos, but every time I see those, I'm just like, no. I don't like you guys. I don't like any of them. Like, you only have Raccoon and Ginyu in here, and I'm okay if they skip the other 3. Like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Definitely.
Everybody else that gets isn't there a whole lot of other people that get murdered too in the Namek saga that just get murdered by Vegeta? I'm assuming.
I mean, like he slaughters like hundreds of Namekians looking for the Dragon Balls.
Oh, that too, yeah. And the Frieza.
And he kills Zarbon, and I think he kills. I don't know if I think he kills Birder and both Birder and Jace. Maybe I don't know.
He kills Jace for sure. I used to every so often I would see a picture that would go around the internet that shows all the different kills and it has them standing on top of people's bodies of who they all killed. And Vegeta's killed majority of them.
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, Goku is actually only killed like his kill count's very low because I mean he
doesn't normally kill
typically
people.
Doesn't kill. Like even with Frieza in this game, which it's weird in this game too. Like because at the end of the Frieza fight, like when Frieza goes to his like final form and then Goku beats him, he gives him like a little bit of his energy, But they skip the whole part where like Frieza gets chopped in half by his own like energy disc and he's like laying on the ground. So like that was weird, right? They had that, but they skipped that part where he gets like chopped in half. Like it's weird how they skip around and just leave out some stuff. But I get it.
I wonder why they skipped it because you still have the other you have the Raditz stuff where you can actually see like a little bit of blood when Raditz.
I know. I love that part.
I do too. And then same thing with Trunks later, but I don't know why they didn't do it. Maybe they didn't want to animate it and it was harder.
Potentially, yeah. It was an interesting choice, but
I forgot about it. So like for me, like, I didn't even think about it. I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. I forget all that stuff.
But Vegeta kills the entire Ginyu Force.
Okay.
Oh wow. Yeah. You're right. Yep.
Yeah, he cuts off Gildo's head. Burner's knocked out by Goku. He kills him. Rakum's knocked out by Goku. He kills him. I think Vegeta kills Jace when he's trying to run away, and then whenever they switch back bodies, I think does he like blow up the frog that Ginyu's in or something?
You're right. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ginyu came back in something else later. Maybe that wasn't canon.
Oh no. Yeah, no. I'm super right. He becomes. In the movie it's different, but in Resurrection F in the TV show, Ginyu is still the frog. And
I forgot about that.
Yeah, never mind. He does not kill Ginyu as a frog.
Okay.
I think he kills Ginyu's body, and then the frog runs around. So
that's
technically,
right.
He kills all of them.
He's trapped. That's a worse fate than death, being trapped as a frog for the rest of your life.
But also, the planet gets destroyed, so wouldn't he be dead when the planet gets destroyed?
Listen, there's plot holes in Dragon Ball Z for sure.
I mean, they also do a very condensed version of the Android saga too. Like, I didn't realize how condensed it was until I played and I know enough about Dragon Ball Z now because you have Android 19, but you never fight Android 20. I fucking hate Android 19. He is so fucking ugly.
Yeah, he sucks.
I hate him.
I don't like I've never liked his design.
His voice? Like, everything about him bothers me.
Yeah, and even in the game, you just fight him as Goku, which that fight's annoying because it's like, his heart.
You're losing health,
he's got the heart disease, so your health is decreasing.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, they tried to work in different things in this game to make
I appreciate some of the gimmicks and some of like the mini games that they try to put in there, but
there's not too many.
They're not overly fun. Yeah.
No, I mean, but they were trying to do something I don't think a lot of fighters did at this point. Like, you don't always have story modes in fighters, and that's what I need. Like, I need my fighter to have a story mode or I'm not interested.
Yeah, and it makes sense if you're making a Dragon Ball Z game to have work that into a story mode.
I mean, Battle 22 just gave you nothing and said, here's all the characters, have fun.
Right.
Battle 22 is awful, by the way.
Technical point, Tekken continues to have like the best storyline of all time, and I stand by that, even though
Tekken's really good.
I don't play those games, but that story is fucking banana shoes, and I love it.
Oh yeah, I was big into Tekken at this time because of my friend Rich, who's on the show quite often. We were big into Tekken. That story, we were just big story.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, but yeah, I was big into like the PlayStation, like Tekken 2, I think was probably the one that I've played the most, but I haven't really dabbled much in the series since then.
But they don't have a story mode, they just have ending cutscenes in the early games, and you just gotta piece it together and read a lot.
Speaking of retcon,
yes.
Speaking of retcons, people on the internet are mad today.
Why?
Why is that?
Daima ended today.
Oh.
And it is revealed Goku could have possibly maybe went Super Saiyan 4 during the Buu saga, but training in the demon world, which is the plot of Daima, actually let him fully release it. Which, of course, Daima takes place before Super. So everyone's like, why doesn't he just turn Super Saiyan 4 during the Super series? And because it wasn't written yet.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be upset But I mean, technically it was in GT also, which GT's supposed to take place after Super, right?
GT's supposed to take place after Super, yeah.
But before
Yeah.
before that little end of Z. So yeah, that's a whole other thing that we don't need to talk about.
Well, GT's never been canon now. As of right now, GT still has never been canon.
Okay.
That's why they put 4 in Daima, which now Daima is canon because it's written by
But also,
Yeah, it's weird.
Goku is not somebody, if he doesn't need to use something that's more powerful, he doesn't always do it either.
Mhm.
Goku's kind of a dumbass sometimes with certain things.
Oh yeah, 100%. He's always a dumbass.
I do like with the story mode, they let you play different characters too. Like they switch around Goku, you get to play as Piccolo. They do a good job of letting you have the different characters depending on who was going through what part of the story. And I did really appreciate that.
There's a lot more of that in the later games. In this game, they mostly focused on Goku. Like you said, there's a couple fights where they let you do the other characters.
I mean, I would allow more of other, like some of the other events that are completely skipped over, but I mean, to be fair, a lot of Dragon Ball Z was just Goku winning and everybody was getting their ass beat.
Right. This is why like Budokai 3 is my favorite game, because you can play through the story mode from basically all of the Z fighters' perspectives. Like, so they're shorter story modes because you can play through 10 different ones.
Happen. I just had to get to this one first, but I 100% plan to do Budokai 2 and 3. So.
But like I said, it makes sense. I mean, Goku's essentially the main character, so it makes sense that he's getting most of the playtime in this game. But they do mix it up at least a little bit, And like obviously, if you want to play some of those other characters, there's other modes for you too that you can do. Like the World Tournament mode in this game also is something that I played a lot, kid. Like
you had to,
right, to unlock the skills, unlock all the skills. Yeah, exactly. But
I know that when I originally played this game, I didn't understand how important the World Tournament is to Dragon Ball. Because now that I watch all of Dragon Ball and I watch a good chunk of Z, like I understand now the World Tournament is the thing they go on to every couple of years in the world or every year, whatever it was. Like I completely understand it now. Where before I remember like, okay, big deal. They just have a little battling mode. Like it makes so much more sense now to me.
So much
thing I noticed today or earlier.
Funny enough, the World Tournament, which technically still goes from Ball to Z, is very much ends up having a bunch of not consequences, but like things in their lives. Like technically in Ball, the World Tournament is where Goku defeats King Piccolo.
Yes.
And then he marries Chi-Chi. He meets all his friends there. And then in Z,
Tien.
Yeah, he fights Tien too. And then in Z, what is it? What happens in Z?
Well, there's the fight with Goku, and then Majin Vegeta shows up at the tournament and kills all those people.
And that's what I was thinking of mainly. Technically, they miss it too because of Hercule as well. And it's one of the things where technically because they missed so many, technically Hercule was able to still keep their secret.
Right, exactly.
So, so technically that also matters too. But yeah, that's my favorite.
They were busy doing other shit.
The canon is
they couldn't compete.
Is that Hercule beat Cell, right? That's like what everybody thinks happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I do like that Cell Juniors are in here and the Cybermen. Like, it's just, I don't know, it was fun to me. Like, they're like, kill 6 of these guys and they have a smaller health bar. Have fun. I liked it. Like, I enjoyed playing through this game. I ended up playing on easy just because I was getting my ass beat. So I went to the easiest difficulty a little bit. But it was still fun. I had a really good time running through this game.
I will say that I think it actually still looks pretty good too. I think translating an anime to like a 3D fighter is always tough, but I mean, especially for 2002, I think they did a pretty good job, and I think it holds up pretty well. Obviously, they lean more towards like cell shade. It's not quite cell shading in the later games, but they have more like bolder outlines and stuff, which I like that style better. But this still looks pretty good.
This is close. I want to say this is pretty much cell shading, but it works. It didn't age badly. Like they would have went more polygonal, it wouldn't have looked as good in 2025. Like this still looked good. Like it looked like Dragon Ball Z.
Yep. And just I'm curious too about between the English version and the Japanese version. I don't know the answer to this, but I'm assuming the music's different because in this one, like the dub in the United States, they have like the Bruce Faulconer soundtrack, like that synth rock music that's super associated with the Funimation dub, and they have that in this game as well. So I'm curious if the Japanese version uses different music. I don't know the answer to that question, but I was just curious.
Probably. And there's always rights issues with music too, and I think
Oh,
Japan is not as strict as us, right?
Yes, but there's also a reason why these games were never re-released. All the music in this game's copyrighted because the guy stole the music.
Oh yeah, that's why it took forever for this to
That's
get
right.
re-released, and the music's changed.
Forgot about that. Yep.
Yeah, that guy stole all. Yeah, he stole I think it was like sample tracks from famous bands and just used it and pretended that he wrote it. And they're like, dude, we wouldn't have cared if you just told us to use sample music because technically it's legal if we say we use sample music. But because you said it was yours, we gotta fucking redo everything. You're banned.
That makes sense. Why?
That sucks because this soundtrack like the holds such a that like defined Dragon Ball Z for me as a kid. Like I don't mind it with like the re-releases without that soundtrack and like the original Japanese music, but there's just something about that like synthy rock music that really does it for me.
Yeah. I also forgot how dumb it is with Cell. How Cell almost dies and then Goku just teleports him away. Then Cell comes back again. Like I forgot about. I mean, I would have been pissed had I watched that. You know, like you're like, oh, it's over. And like, oh, here's go more.
Yep.
How durable are you?
Yeah, right.
You forgot one cell, so I was able to regenerate my entire body.
And there wasn't any other place that Goku could bring him besides King Kai's planet, so he could like he sacrificed himself and he killed King Kai and
the monkey and the cricket.
Yeah.
And they're all dead. Aren't they still dead in current Dragon Ball?
Yeah, they're dead. Yeah, they're
dead. Yeah,
they're actually dead. It's funny because that comes up in Dragon Ball Z like later with the other Kais. Like, because they make fun of King Kai because they see his halo and they're like, "Oh, you're dead!" Like
that was in the Bruce Fury game. They had that. Too.
Yep, that was a good
game.
Technically, that's filler, but I think I'm probably wrong.
I think it is, yes, because it includes Pinacon. He has his arc, and he's not.
Listen, the Otherworld tournament is not filler. That's one of my favorite things in Dragon Ball Z.
I'm pretty sure it's filler, but yes.
There's a lot of things that are filler that are really good. My favorite Dragon Ball Z's episode is the one where Gohan runs around as a Super Saiyan and he saves a village that Goku saved as a kid.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah, that's filler. Yeah, but it's a great episode.
Dude, yeah. I'm like whatever. I'm a Dragon Ball Z purist or Dragon Ball purist or whatever. I can appreciate Kai and like if it's it's daunting to watch 270 something episodes of a show, but like you're missing some good stuff if you're only
it just
watching
depends on how you watch it. Like stuff like this can be like the way I consume it when I do it is I put it on the background while I'm doing other stuff. I'm doing dishes or I'm editing. Like it's just one of those things that just plays in the background and I sort of pay attention to it. Like
unless you're,
I don't know.
Unless you're the Garlic Jr. The Garlic Jr.
That arc is bad.
I'm not. Yeah, I won't. I'm definitely not a Garlic Jr. apologist for sure.
That's a really bad arc, and that's also a bad movie. So, but I've seen it. I watched when I was going through my Dragon Ball Z phase. I was watching all the movies that coincided with when people said it would fit into the show.
Right.
I mean, none of it does. And I got to Super Android 13. I think was the one I was supposed to watch next, and I never got.
That's actually a good one. I like that one.
That's what I heard. I fell out of Dragon Ball Z around that time and never went. Well. That and I was sailing to 7 seas, and I decided I probably should stop doing that because I moved in with my girlfriend at the time. And I'm like, I shouldn't fuck up your internet and get a cease and desist letter, so I'll have to stop now. And then I stopped using torrents because I didn't know where to go anymore. A long time ago.
Speaking of that too, they even use that in canon because technically, what is it? Whenever they Whenever they blow up King Kai's planet, they use that for the BoJack movie.
Okay. I mean, the movies can kind of fit. Like, I like it when they include stuff from the movies into, like, the later games. They don't in this one because it's so early, which is fine. I mean, it's all canon characters. And I think it's a pretty good roster. I mean, most of it makes sense. You only have a couple where I'm just like, really? So
there's a few that are ass.
Okay. I mean, you have Trunks in here. Trunks is barely in the story mode. I knew very little about Trunks because I hadn't watched the show. And, like, I'd only really played this game. And Trunks doesn't... Do they even have him killing Frieza in this? I can't remember.
In one cutscene they do. Like it's very short, but you know.
And is it this game that actually has this like a super secret where you can get Frieza in mecha form?
That's a good question.
I was watching multiple YouTube videos of different games.
I know the Mecha Frieza is in the other games as a character that you can play as, but yeah, I'm not sure about this game.
It's in this game. You have to do something You have to get Frieza's ship and then die, and then Frieza will come and have it equipped, and Frieza will come back as Mecha Frieza with a full health bar.
Cool. That's kind of cool.
I don't know.
I'm glad that there's like secrets like that in this game.
I didn't know about it until I was watching something today that mentioned it.
There's also
playable.
there's also a hidden mode that I don't think I ever knew about or unlocked. It's like the Legend of Hercule mode. Did you guys unlock this or know about this?
I remember that.
I didn't do it this time.
Maybe I did as a kid because I played the shit out of this game as a kid and probably unlocked most of the stuff, but I don't really remember that. But it's apparently it's a mode where you play through as Hercule in different. You fight against different characters and there's different like win conditions and stuff like. Only defeat this character with Kai blasts or stuff like that, which is kind of cool.
I forget how like Hercule is a kind of a big part of Dragon Ball.
Yeah,
he's just such a dumb character.
He definitely is.
Look, someone has to keep the fucking family rich. And last time I checked, King Ox is running out of fucking money. So they had to have Gohan marry Hercule's fucking daughter.
Right.
It is kind of funny that you're the most powerful people in the like universe almost, and like they can't afford anything.
I mean, did you guys watch fucking Dragon Ball's Superhero? Did you see Gohan's house in that movie? Freaking, He's got like a mansion.
I'm gonna watch it probably next now because now we're trying to get this out of the way.
I refuse to watch that movie to do it for the podcast because I had never had a reason to watch it, and I was gonna watch it, and then Toriyama died, and I was like, "Nah, we're going to watch it." And then Mike said that we should start doing more Dragon Ball Z stuff.
We'll plan it. I've been waiting.
And
I
liked it.
And I was like, fuck it, because I also hadn't seen the Brawly movie yet, and that we had such a good time watching that.
Dude, the Brawly movie's great.
Brawly movie was good.
Great.
I love, I think I don't know. I don't think I saw that one in theaters. No, what I saw in theaters was they did a limited run of the original Brawly movie in theater. I mean, there's a couple.
There's three.
There's a couple Brawly movies, but the first one, they re-released it as like an event in theaters, and I went to see that, which was pretty sweet.
We agreed both the Brawly movies were ass, right, Mike? The last two?
People like Brawly too. Everyone hates Bio Brawly, from what I've heard.
Bio Brawly.
I've never seen
the first movie's good though.
Any of them other than the newest one, but I'm gonna once we get done with Superhero, which I think I'm gonna put in planning now that this is done. But yeah, we'll see because I want to watch Superhero.
Yeah,
and this got me back in the Dragon Ball mood more so. Like now that this is done. One thing that makes the story, I think, unique, the story mode, is after you beat it, you get like little side quest things, which at first it starts off where you play other chapters of what was in the anime that you just like you get to play as Piccolo a little bit more, fighting. I think you fight Raditz, you fight the Cybermen, you fight Nap. It's just nice to have some other stuff. Then you get a few what ifs, like I think you get it where Vegeta goes Super Saiyan before Goku does, and he beats Goku. You have one where you play as Frieza and you kill everybody, and Frieza activates her complete. I keep calling her because the voice always sounded like a woman back in the day. I know it's a male character, but I hate Frieza. By the way, hate Frieza.
Well,
I mean, when I was a kid, I hated that voice, and I hated
There's not much redeemable about that character.
No, I mean, the more I watch, I'm like, yeah, it's terrible. But even like as a guy who just like catch a couple reruns here and there of Frieza and just hearing him talk, I'm just like, I hate this. I hate this character. It's ugly. I don't like him. They also don't have all of Frieza's forms in this, which is fine because there's like 5 or 6 forms for him.
Yeah, some of his forms are
like the alien form. Like,
yeah,
they skip all that and they just do the original. And then they do the final form, which is enough.
They show like one of his mid forms for like a second.
Yeah.
When he's like stabbing Krillin through the chest with one of his horns, but that's about it.
They don't make you like unlock it or have to, and that's fine. Like it doesn't need it.
And it's weird to me that like with Cell and Frieza in this game that their different forms are like transformations. So like when they lose enough ki, they turn back into their original form, which is always silly to me, but it's kind of cool.
I didn't hear because I thought it made sense.
Yeah.
I think they make it a cinematic in the later games. So like Budokai 2 or 3, whenever Cell transforms, you see him run off and eat 17 real quick to transform. But
yes.
I think but it only happens once. Yeah.
Yep. And then the later games like Tenkaichi, they started to break out the transformations just into separate characters altogether.
Yeah, I think that's more just a fighting game thing, though, to be like, okay, our roster's bigger.
I think I was mad about that as a kid. I'm like, why can't I transform in the middle of the battle? But now I realize, like, okay, all of these characters have different move sets too. So, like, Super Saiyan Goku has a completely different move set than like base Goku. So that also makes sense. But not in this game, no.
No, it makes sense as it goes on later. I don't mind it in here. I mean, this game is simple enough. Like, if you're not someone that played a lot of fighters, you can pick up this game and still have a very good time with it. Because I'm not a guy that's big into fighters. I will never learn the combos and all the. I'm not that guy. Like, I can't.
Yeah.
And this game, you didn't have to. The combo. I mean, I was able to pull off the Kamehameha and each of theirs kind of like you just hit punch 4 times and then the key blast attack, and it worked. And that was enough. Like, it was simple and it was fun.
Oh,
I didn't need to know everything.
If we play the later ones, remind me to remind y'all to look up stuff to make the game easier.
Okay.
Eric, you might know what I'm talking about. Well, one thing you can do in this because it's if you go into the options, you can back trigger buttons. The R2 and L2 buttons don't do anything, so you can make it to where if you hit like the L2 button, it'll do your power up to Super Saiyan or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I always to transform. I always push like I think it's L1 and R1. I push like all the triggers and the R1 and L1 buttons, and
it's X, square, and triangle. Does it?
Yeah. So like there are easier ways to do it than like mashing like 3 buttons at the same time.
Well, weirdly enough, the reason why I know that is because my sister found out about that in school, and someone told her in school how to do that. So
that's cool.
Yeah, okay. So that's how we figured out how to do that. Because I remember one time we were playing, and I'm like, "How the fuck are you transforming so fast?" And she's like, "I set the buttons. You just do this." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Yep. And she told me what happened. Yeah.
The days before the internet,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, yeah, days before the internet, where what is it? You had to learn stuff in school, but then you also learned like, oh, Billy lied to me. He told me if I beat Zelda 100 times, I'll get a gun, and that didn't happen.
Yep. Classic.
Oh God. Hey, remember Muse under that truck? You can push that truck with strength. Yeah.
That was a good one.
Or my favorite one, if you beat Resident Evil 2 with no ammo 3 times, you can play as Akuma.
I've never heard that one.
I've never heard that one either.
It was a fake Game Informer like ad or something.
Oh, probably EGM. EGM had the fake ones like Shen Long that actually becomes canon years later. That's thanks to them. They did a bunch of shit like that. They did one with Sonic was a playable character in Smash Brothers. Came true.
Also became true.
Yep.
Yeah. It was EGM. I've actually met some of the people. I've actually recorded with some of the people on this podcast that work for EGM that were involved in some of those.
It was EGM.
Yeah, they did a bunch of prank stuff like that for their April Fool's stuff. People fell for it. No, it is nice that this story mode gives you extra content. Like after you beat it, like that's where you unlock Zarbon. I didn't even know I still don't really know who Zarbon is, and I've watched a lot of Dragon Ball Z.
Zarbon, Vegeta's gay like number 2.
He didn't last long.
Yeah, right.
In the anime, I'm assuming.
Well, he has like his big old like transformation. Well, because the whole thing is like he's like a pretty boy, and then his transformation he turns into this fucking big ass ugly dude, but he gets like super powerful. And Vegeta has a hard time beating him, and I think he actually gets beaten first. But then once he comes back, because like the whole thing with Saiyans is once they after every fight he gets stronger. So yeah, he comes back and kicks his ass.
Yeah, they use Zarbon for that because that's not explained through the entire series, but then Vegeta they use Vegeta to confirm it. Yep. And it's like, that's why you keep winning, Kakarot, because you keep failing and then coming back.
But it was fun to get to play as Vegeta for a lot of the Namek Saga and refight all the people that he pretty much kills, which is canon, because Goku's not around for a good chunk of that. He shows up, he kills Riku.
Yeah, Vegeta's right on the show on Namek for a while. Yeah,
like he kills everybody. So it's nice. Like I like this stuff because, like, for someone like me who didn't know any of this, it gives you more context. And again, this was a big part for me getting into the show and understanding the show was because of this game. I mean, you catch a couple what if scenarios, like the stuff with Cell where Cell eats Krillin and gets weaker. I do like that.
Yeah. One thing I do appreciate about this game that they sort of scrapped, especially I think they bring it back. And they do bring it back in the Tenkaichi games, but they scrapped it for Budokai 2 and 3, is fully animated and rendered cutscenes. Like in Budokai 2, it's the whole thing is like the story mode is like if you don't know, it's like a fucking board game essentially. And there's no cuts, there's no like animated cutscenes. It's all just talk through like there's voice acting, but it's all just like dialogue boxes. That's the same thing with Budokai 3 as well. So like this game, they actually took the time to reanimate some of the scenes from the show and like fully voice act them. So that I actually really appreciate about this game, and I miss that in some of the other games.
Yeah, I didn't notice. I didn't mind it in here. I mean, it's fine. I wouldn't be upset if it wasn't there either. It wouldn't bother me because I just don't have that attachment. But I mean, it's nice having little cutscenes. I mean, it gives you more of the story. Like I enjoyed it in here. But
Yep.
I wouldn't. I don't know. I've never played any. I want to play Budokai 2 and 3. I've always have. Never got around to it.
I'm sure their argument is at a certain point, like how many times can you redo the same story?
Yeah, I mean,
with Dragon Ball Z.
Most people, I mean, the idea is also that if you're playing this, you already are involved in it. There's not a lot of people that were like me, were like, I don't want to watch all the anime. I just want to absorb it quickly.
Yeah, I think it sounds like where Joe was coming from when he said he didn't want to like play through Kakarot because it takes so long to get to the actual good stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the Saiyan Saga stuff. I mean, I say that, but at the same time, I started rewatching Dragon Ball Z just because, and I got midway into Saiyan Saga before Nappa even showed up, and I stopped watching. So, I mean, maybe that's saying something right there.
There's two things I specifically like about Dragon Ball Z. One is the Cell Saga. I still argue that Cell Saga is probably the three things actually. The Cell Saga is the best saga in the entire Dragon Ball Z series. I think the Buu Saga is very underrated. I think it's actually a lot better than people bitch about it.
I don't know why people bitch about it. I love it.
Yeah, but it's also people our age. It's the same situation as Star Wars. The older fans who had Dragon Ball Z when they were teenagers didn't like it, but when we were kids,
I don't like the Buu Saga, but that's because it never ended back in Toonami, and I was just like,
dude,
you just wrap this up? Like, they're fighting this guy last episode.
Dude, the Namek Saga is so long. Like,
it is, yeah.
It's incredibly long. But
I wasn't watching Toonami, so I didn't realize it.
Some of my favorite stuff is in the Namek Saga, but also some of the most boring stuff is in the Namek Saga, too. Like, a lot of it is, like, fucking Bulma and Krillin and Gohan, like, just hiding from all the Frieza goons, and I'm like, okay, this is,
Oh, there's a lot of very powerful characters.
There's a filler episode where Bulma fights a big crab in like a mech for some reason.
Yep, I forgot about that one. Yeah,
I hate that they went with the Super Saiyan God route. I still think 4 is the best Super Saiyan form ever.
I do like 4. Again, it's tough because especially as this series goes on and with Super, like they have to come up with even more powerful transformations. Like the universe, it starts out relatively small and then it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then they start going to like universal scale and then like, gods, like you said. So it's like, yeah, how can we transcend what we've already done? So it gets a little weird, but I do like Super Saiyan 4 because it like goes back to the roots of like, the great ape and everything, which is pretty sweet. But yeah, I should go back and watch GT again because there is some good stuff in there too, even though whatever, it's not canon, but it doesn't really matter.
It might be eventually. I mean, I'm assuming they're going to take some of the characters from there and put them in canon.
So
I'm assuming that's coming.
I mean, like Pan is, canonized and they're showing more her. So like they've already brought some stuff over.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't Baby one of the villains?
Yeah.
Okay. I know very little of GT, but I know some.
As far as I remember, what the hell is it? What was it? I lost my train of thought because I'm looking at something.
We can come back to it. I do want to say that the final fight that you do in the story mode is Yamcha. That's the final fight you do in this game. Because after you beat all the story modes and you unlock the side story and you play as Cell, the final character you're going to fight is Yamcha.
Great.
I don't know why Yamcha's
Great
even
way
in
to
here.
end the game.
Like, why Yamcha? Like,
Yamcha sucks.
He's weak. Yes, he's powerful when you're looking at Dragon Ball, but by the time you get to Dragon Ball Z, like, he was one of those characters that did not ever, like, age with them. Like, he did not get more powerful.
Well, he also stopped training. He could have been powerful, but, like, I mean, look at Krillin. He kept pace with them for a while. I mean, he was still one of the weaker Z fighters, but, like, he could hold his own because he was still training.
Powerful human.
Yeah, exactly. But like
Teen was still pretty powerful. I mean, like, I know Teen's still around, like, and fights with him a little bit here and there.
I like Tien. Yeah. He's good.
I don't know. Yamcha just always bothered me.
Mm-hmm.
And for the Android, they do have 18, 17, 16, and 19 as all the playable characters in here. Cell, Raditz. Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure we mention everyone that was playable in this game. Yep. You get Teen Gohan and you get Teen and Kid, I think, or just Kid?
You get Kid. Yeah, you get Teen and Kid, I think.
Even though he's like 12, he's Teen Gohan.
Right.
No, it's the same. No, it's the same sprite. Because I'm looking on here. No, it's the same Gohan. I mean, he looks a little different, but yeah, they don't take up. Yeah, this Kid Gohan. That's all they got. Because he's technically still Kid Gohan come the Cell Saga.
Well,
Uh,
they refer to him as Teen like Gohan. Basically,
Yeah, but he's not like the older Gohan that you get in the beginning of the Buu saga.
no. That's adult Gohan technically.
Not really an adult, yeah. Yes.
That's how they
I know.
differentiate them in the games, even though it's not true because he's technically when he's quote unquote adult, he's still in high school. But yeah, it's weird.
In this game, I think it's just like at first. I think it's the style he looks changed, and maybe he's a little bit more powerful because he does go Super Saiyan 2 in this because they follow the whole way that he beats Cell and everything. I always found it weird that it was the fact that Android 16 dies that pushes him over the brink. Why 16? But
he was having his moment. It also doesn't help he was in the moment as well. He was already upset about having to fight Cell at full power. And then he also didn't want to fight either, so he was already pissed off. And then someone sacrificed himself just for him to be like, you need to quit fucking being like this, because if you're stronger than you say you are and you're holding back, we're all going to die. And he gets killed, so technically, Gohan's not mad that there's no connection between them, but technically, if Gohan had tried hard enough, he wouldn't have died. And that's what pushes him over that last edge.
yeah, but Goku just wanted to let Gohan win, even though couldn't Goku have killed Cell?
Yeah?
I think he wasn't powerful enough. Like I think he knew that too, which is why he wanted to push Gohan. Yeah, because Gohan at that point, Gohan is the strongest Z fighter. Like when he is Super Saiyan 2, like he is the strongest. He's stronger than Goku at that point. It doesn't last very long, but when he is fighting Cell, he is the strongest.
Because then I think what Gohan doesn't train, right? By the time we get to the Buu saga, he's not
after he defeats
anymore.
Cell, he they do a time jump and he's like more focused on like school and stuff.
Well, that's the other point too. One thing that I always bring it up as well is if you're familiar with Chinese folklore, and even though it's a Japanese anime, Goku is very much supposed to be based off Sun Wukong. Yep. And the whole idea of Sun Wukong is that it's supposed to be where he technically meets himself, which also implies that, which is even funnier enough, Vegeta's supposed to be the six-eared macaw, which is why he's always a step below him because he can't beat him. But the idea was supposed to be that there was supposed to be a new generation every time. That's why when Goku dies, Goten exists, because Gohan's supposed to be the new Goku and Goten's supposed to be the new Gohan. But for some reason in Japan, people hate it and they completely just kick that whole story aside. Like Gohan was stronger than Goku in Z. Gohan had a whole arc where he was in high school. They even gave him a new form, and it wasn't doing it for people. And then Toriyama was just fine. Y'all don't want Gohan, then fine. I'm throwing the whole thing out.
Yeah, that's so weird. I like Gohan in the Buu saga when he goes, when he trains with the Kais and he's like becomes his like ultimate form and fights Super Buu. Like that's some of my favorite Gohan stuff. Aside from like the peak in the Cell saga, but like other than that, I do think they do Gohan a bit of a disservice. Like you said, I mean, it seems like from what you're saying, that's just the way the audience was shifting. But to me, I think Gohan should have had a bit more chance to shine, especially in the Buu saga. He gets his moment, but like you said, ultimately Goku is the one that ends up defeating Buu.
And we get what basically I like too, which is Gohan is making a comeback because of Toriyama's son. People, like I said, people our age love Gohan, and that's why Super did so well. So I'm hoping with the ending of Dragon Ball Super, we get another Dragon Ball series with Gohan. But yeah,
let me tell you guys, if you like Gohan, you're gonna like Superhero for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to watching it. I really am. We will be doing it soon. All right. Anything else to say about Budokai? I think we're running out.
Yeah. I think that pretty much wraps it up for me. I mean, go ahead, Joe.
I have one thing to ask y'all. I don't know if any of us know about it. Did any of y'all do any of the weird? Was there supposed to be a way to upgrade your skills, or was that just something that they?
Oh God, yes. No, you can. Well, not great exactly, but you can level up all your skills.
You can. Basically, I think you can assign multiple of the same skill, and that'll give you a stronger version of the move.
You can also, if you get all the Dragon Balls, as you buy stuff in the shop, you can eventually get all the Dragon Balls and unlock for each. You have to do for each character. It's called their breakthrough, and it has all their abilities in one capsule, so they have everything.
Oh wow,
that's weird.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that.
I mean, it's also weird in for the simple fact of when you do it, it takes up all the slots. So you can equip like Sensu beams and other things in this game that give them extra stat boosts and stuff too.
Yeah, I don't really see the point of having all the moves, because like I feel like especially when you're in a fight, you're only using a couple of moves. You might use like your main, like, you know, Kamehameha with the punch energy, and then like maybe one of your super moves or whatever, and leave all those other slots for like support items. But yeah, I don't know how often you're swapping between like 5 different moves.
Not that much, if you ask me. So I don't know why, but I guess it's just something for you to grind towards. Because the way you make money in this game is you just keep playing through the world tournament and you'll win money.
Right.
I mean, for some people, that's a thrill. Like, not for me, but for some people, that's their thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had zero interest in doing that, so I did not. But I never do in any game. I just don't like stuff like that.
Yeah. I think, I don't know, just overall, again, for being one of the first games that sort of brought over the English voice acting, I think they did a really good job with this game. And like, just, I don't know, the presentation of it is fun too. Like all the menu and the sounds and the title screen music and all that stuff. And like the Rock the Dragon intro, I love. And like, it's just, yeah, it's a good package.
It's all the Dragon Ball Z stuff that you wanted, you know, especially at the time. Like, this is the first big Dragon Ball Z game. So.
One other thing that is persistent, is it? I think it's, at least in Budokai 1 through 3. I don't remember if they do it in the Tenkaichi series as well. I think they do, but the loading menus and controlling it with like the analog stick is always fun. Because like in this one, it's the radar. I don't know if Mike, if you
I didn't even notice that.
If you ever tried it, but if you move the analog stick on the loading screen, you can like control the little radar, dragon radar that's going. And
I remember that.
In Budokai 2, I believe it's the Cybermen. So on the loading screen, little Cybermen are popping up. And if you roll the analog sticks, you can make the Cybermen pop up faster. And then in, I might be confusing Budokai 2 and 3, but those were always fun.
You're right for 2, because I remember this, so I'm pretty sure you're right for 2.
And then I forget what
I've seen 2.
3.
I just didn't play 2, but my friend had 2 back then. But he didn't. I don't think we ever got 3, because I think, did 3 come out closer to when the 360's out already?
3 was out in 2004, Budokai 3.
Okay.
I mean, it was yearly. So yeah, 2002, 2003, 2004.
We didn't have Budokai 3 out of me, or maybe he was getting tired of Dragon Ball Z, because I know he had Budokai 1.
The 360
Budokai
ones, I believe Tenkaichi 3 might have came to like 360, potentially. But, because like, I know that one was like 2000. I mean, if we're just going chronologically here, I think that would have been like 2007. So that lines up.
Burst Limit is the first HD DBZ game that we get.
Yeah, I remember that one on PlayStation 3. Yep.
They made a lot.
Oh, yeah. I
own a bunch, too.
Yeah, I also still haven't checked out Sparking Zero. I'm sort of just waiting for that to like go on sale or something to pick it up. But I still want to finish. I got to like the Namek saga in Kakarot, and someday I'll finish it. I've been slowly chipping away at it, but it's good. Like, I like the fighting system and I like exploring the worlds. It's cool that they sort of opened it up. It's not like quite an open world. It's like an open hub, but they're big areas to explore, but it's fun. I just like flying around as those characters. And like I said, it's very similar fighting system to like, I don't know, like the Tenkaichi games or the 3D fighters, but someday I'll finish that one.
I want to play Cax. Well, I haven't bought it yet because
it's just long, man. It's too long.
The only reason why I think it's in, I'm double checking real quick. Oh yeah, it is in Kakarot. I believe in Kakarot they also cover, which is also my favorite movie and arc, History of Trunks.
Yes, there's a DLC for that.
Yeah, where you also do the Buu saga from that storyline too. So if Goku,
cool.
If Goku and Gohan die, Trunks has to fight Buu, and I think he actually goes like Super Saiyan 2.
That's pretty sick.
Someday I definitely want to play Kakarot and play all the DLC, but that's not anytime soon. So, but that's something.
Like, have you seen History of Trunks?
No, I know of it, but I've never seen the OVA or anything.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite Dragon Ball Z movies.
We keep talking about you watching Dragon Ball Z movies, Mike. That's technically a movie. We should cover that.
Awesome.
Movie?
Yep.
Technically, it's like a 30-minute special, or like maybe an hour.
Oh no, it's considered a film. History of Trunks.
Yeah, it's like
48
it's
minutes,
a little bit longer. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's good, man. Oh, it's really good.
Yeah, I've never seen it. I wouldn't mind. We'll see. We're gonna get there. Damn it, Dragon Ball Z. All right. Should we go to Shelf Stacker Box? I think we're running out of stuff to say. For about this game, at least, not about Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's everything for me.
And Joel, why don't you lead us in?
I'm gonna go ahead and put this on the stack. It's okay. I mean, it's a generic fighting game. I also say that because it's still really technical. Like I said, I think in the later games there's easier way to do combos, but this game's a little too technical for me. I had a hard time just kind of doing a lot of the basic stuff, and like I said, I had to figure out how to do the transformation. But I think you should at least try it out for the most part, just because you can always see how the games advance. Because like I said, I think these games are still kind of got like sharp corners, but the Budokai Tenkaichi ones are like way better, from what I remember. So
Yeah,
I still put it in the stack.
All right, I'll go next. I'm gonna put this in the stack also. I had fun though. I really enjoyed my short time with the game, but and I'm glad it's part of the show. I'm glad we finally got to cover it. I really am. Took me months.
I think this is my first time doing it. Remind me of the criteria for each level.
Box being something you dislike, shelf being something you love, stack being something in the middle, and any criteria from there is your choice.
Okay, I'll agree with you guys then. I'll go on the stack. It's definitely, I would say, probably my least favorite game in the series, even though it's kind of what kicked it all off. Like I said, it's still fun to go back to today, but just some of the mechanics are a little bit clunkier, and it's a little bit, a little bit simpler, and there isn't as much variety as there is in the later games. So yeah, I'd agree with the stack.
All right, I guess then we just go to plugs. And Eric, where we'll find you at?
Yeah, you can find us basically, anywhere you find your podcast. Just go to the nomadsoffantasy.com and you'll find all the relevant links there. You can listen to episodes, find our YouTube channel and Discord link as well, nomadsoffantasy.com/Discord if you want to join us there and hang out. But yeah, it's check us out.
All right. And if you enjoyed this episode, over 750 other episodes of this podcast, you can find everything we do on Podbean. We do movies, TV shows, comics, all sorts of stuff. Yeah, and please, so follow us wherever you get your shows. Also want to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro, courtesy of Helena at Hell Has Street. You can follow her on TikTok and Instagram. Definitely go check her out. And check out A Gamer Looks at 40 with Bill Tucker. And please follow us on... and if you want to support the show, we do have Patreon, a little dog vote in our Patreon poll. You will see the link in the show note. And please join our Discord. If you want to be in the show, if you want to chat with the show, if you want to suggest things, we have a Discord and it's free. You can do all that on there. And please rate and review us wherever you get your podcast. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, YouTube, Audio Only, TikTok. And I think that's everything I need to say. So we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.